Welcome everybody to a new show of the Heel Heat. We got the one-winged angel, Benny. We got Jay, the champ, the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of the world. And it's me, Paulinho.
Still going strong.
All right, so this is one of these draft ones that we're gonna have. So the draft is pretty much when I post this, it'll be today. So the draft is today. So this is a quick what 5 moves we're gonna do, and we have some honorable mentions. And what we think that the main roster should be drafting for the draft, and who we're looking to see move, and what we're expecting those moves to bring with them. Benny, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I could pretty much kick this off. Let me kick it off with my honorable mentions right off the bat, because I'm actually building my own little universe mode in the middle of all of this. I am splitting up Retribution. All right. The hell with T-Bar and Mace. I'm so sick of these names and everything. You are legitimately wasting one of your best talents, Dominic Dijakovic, to SmackDown. And my other honorable mention, I don't care when his contract runs out, Ricochet is going to be featured from now on in this mid card that I'm building. And when you see what I'm doing, you're gonna applaud.
You said those were your honorable mentions. I'm waiting for the rest of the picks.
Real quick, I also have Ricochet going over to SmackDown too.
Oh, you got one. I'm keeping them on Raw.
Nah, I'm keeping them on Raw. I'm going to SmackDown, but go ahead.
I'm keeping them all Raw. All right, so for my first pick, I'm gonna get the most obvious one out of the way. Hurt Business is going to SmackDown. Every single one of them. Lashley, Cedric, Shelton, MVP. They're all going over there simply because of the fact that you can do this Hurt Business versus Bloodline thing, and you can stretch this whole thing out until damn near WrestleMania if you wanted to. You're pretty much going to be covered until the Royal Rumble, but you can take it further than that if you want to. All right. So, like I said, Hurt Business to SmackDown. That's my number one thing right there.
Here. All right. My honorable mentions are I'm kicking Ricochet over to SmackDown because I need him. I need him off of Raw. I can't. I as much as I love the man, I can't have him on Raw. They're wasting his time. Get him completely away from the 24/7 belt. Put him on a whole different show. Get him away from there. Another one is I actually moved Mace and T-Bar together to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also, in return, I moved Alpha Academy to Raw.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought about that, but that was just like, no, because when you pull away a team like Mace and T-Bar, you need another team like to replace them. Alpha Academy gives you that. And to me, they're a little more technical because they're both like wrestlers. So that's something new. And I would love to see them against the Viking Raiders.
That sounds like a squash match to me, the way they book and everything.
I know, but if they let them go, can you imagine like Otis and what's his name? What's his name?
I'm calling his real name. His name is Hanson.
Yeah.
Right.
Otis and Hanson. Golly. Big meaty man like Vince likes.
Yeah, big meaty men slapping meat.
Yeah. So I got that, and I got also being called up. I got LA Knight going to Raw.
That's a nice one.
Those are my honorable mentions. Let me start off with one that is going to shock you, and you're not going to be surprised though. Is we're calling up my squad, Legado de Fantasma, and they're going to SmackDown. Yes.
Jay don't like it.
Jay don't like it.
I'm gonna tell you, I can literally give you. I don't even need a long explanation for this. There's one reason why I don't like it. War games. you don't have one. You call them or hit Raw, you don't have War Games this year. Period.
Yeah, you got to make a makeshift on both sides of that. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, don't forget they're trying to call what's that? Row, Epic Row, Hit
Hit
Row.
Row.
They're talking about Hit Row.
Don't get
going up.
disrespectful.
They're trying to
Don't
call
get
them up too.
disrespectful.
So it's like might as well
Don't be
call them both.
don't be disrespecting my people like that. You want to sit here and get mad at me about the whole Spanish thing, but then you want
you can't even pronounce
a row something or the row. Yeah, don't get disrespectful. And make me go find my grills from like 2007.
Oh God.
So yeah, so I got him going to SmackDown, and also in return, I want to keep him away from the Mysterios, so I moved the Mysterios over to Raw. I want to separate them. I don't want to keep them together. Gotta separate them. So with that, I'm done. I'm done with that right now. Go, Jay, your turn.
Hold on, I got to check something first. Because I don't know exactly. So War Games is in November.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Here's my problem, right?
You lost the light?
I'm about to get it back. Don't worry about it. I'm about to get it back. See? There you go. With the draft being so early, they screwed themselves. Because I think a lot of the draft picks are going to be NXT guys. Mm-hmm. So I guess for honorable mention, that's tough. Well, honorable mention because no one's talking about her, Dakota Kai. I want to say Raw, only because with Nia Jax now gone and Shayna Baszler kind of drifting back into that NXT Shayna Baszler, I could see them bringing Dakota Kai back as a face to kind of build off that chemistry. But I definitely see Dakota Kai getting called up or drafted this time around. The rest are tough because all the obvious choices all have titles right now. But I'm going to say, I think officially the same way they did last year, which was kind of stupid, how they drafted Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax to Raw, even though they were the tag champions. I think they're going to change and get Rhea Ripley and
Nikki
ASH or Ash or whatever her name is now. I think they're going to draft them to SmackDown. Just so that when those titles eventually do come off, you'll have Rhea Ripley in that mix with Sasha, Bianca, and Becky Lynch. Because I don't think any of those people are getting moved. It doesn't make sense.
Get away from Charlotte.
Get her away from Charlotte is essentially what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I like that.
Another honorable mention I'm going to say is the Viking Raiders to SmackDown.
That's very possible.
Because I could definitely see them needing to hit a refresh. And with an actual tag team like the Usos in a feud where whoever Roman faces next as a baby face, because I'm looking at it from the sense of the next baby face Roman faces is going to be after one of my major draft picks. And that Roman is kind of going to have to play face in this next feud. So I think coming up, you're going to start to see the cracks for Roman really show. And that's going to lead to the Usos dropping the titles. And I think they just need more tag teams that are fresh, that once you put the titles on a new tag team, you can kind of move the tag team titles away from the main event scene and have them stand on their own. And I think the Viking Raiders definitely could be a team that gets called up. My third honorable mention, MSK to Raw. Because if you look at what the murmurs are in NXT, MSK no longer fits the mold of what they want for NXT 2.0. And I could 100% seeing MSK being the team to take the titles off of RK Bro, because we know RK Bro is definitely just a transitional champion. And it's just for their little storyline now. So in terms of who, like the major guys, like the dub picks would be the Hurt Business to SmackDown.
Mhm.
I would have said Drew McIntyre a couple of days ago, but after what I saw on Monday, I 100% think that they're gonna go ahead with the Big E Drew McIntyre thing, at least through Crown Jewel, before Survivor Series. I think you see the mid-card title switch. So Shinsuke to Raw, Damian Priest to
God damn it, Jay.
SmackDown. That's the dummy choice. Like, that's the obvious choice.
No, I was saying that was my number 2.
Yeah. Like, that's the duh choice. I think you see, I'm trying to think. Because I'm also trying to think of guys that are people that are on the shelf. And then you have the NXT people, and that's what makes it hard, is because there's so much NXT talent that's now not being used. I could 100% see someone like Johnny Gargano getting called up, especially with his wife being on leave. And I could see them holding off his return until after she has the baby, so that keeps him off TV for a good chunk of time that you kind of forget, and there's no point in having him in NXT. I could see Austin Theory getting called up and breaking up that faction. If they do call up Hit Row, I could see Hit Row getting moved to Raw, because you can literally use them in a mid-card situation. You can use them in a spot main event situation if you want to. But I don't think that I think they would try and push Top Dollar and not Isaiah Swerve Scott, because you know how Vince is with small, skinny guys. Which is why I said mid-card. And also it gives you a tag team and it gives you another woman. But I also think that if they did call up Hit Row, they're not going to call up all 4 of them. They may call up 3, they may call up 2. I don't think they're going to call up all 4 of them, because Vince loves breaking up factions.
This is true.
Vince definitely does love breaking up factions. And I mean, in some cases it works, because it worked with Carmella and it worked with Alexa Bliss. So, I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt, but it doesn't always work, especially in terms of the factions that you have down in NXT. I don't think it'll work. I can see them calling up Kushida. Definitely see them calling up Kushida after he just dropped the title. Where you put him, your guess is as good as mine, but I'm gonna guess SmackDown, because SmackDown's a little more of the, I guess, the showman show. Like, it's a lot more showmanship, so it fits more into what you want from Kushida. But because Kushida's so small, you can kind of still use him in the lower mid card and still, it can still work. I just don't want him to go on Raw, because I don't want him in a 24/7 title scene, and that's where he's going to end up if he goes to Raw.
What he would be in.
Yeah. I want Karrion Kross to get traded to SmackDown, but regardless if he's on Raw or SmackDown, I don't think that his presentation is going to change, so I think it's irrelevant. I think they're probably going to keep him on Raw. Keith Lee, I can see getting moved to SmackDown. Keith Lee, I can definitely see him getting moved, mainly because I could see them finally pulling the trigger on Mia Yim and having Mia Yim just be Mia Yim, which will also bring a much needed element to the women's division. And it can give them a lot of social media attention, because having Mia Yim and Shelton Benjamin on the same show, while they're getting a lot of traction on Twitter for their relationship and That banter that they have will definitely be big. Let me see. The big one, Imperium. I could definitely see Imperium going to Raw because
left from Imperium right now, because I think Wolf is gone, or right?
Yes, Alexander Wolf is the only one that got
Yeah,
Alexander Wolf. I could definitely see them. I could see them getting put on Raw just because the numbers make sense with the New Day. And I think that them working together with the New Day and setting up Walter to be the next champion could definitely be in the cards. Though I think if you call up Imperium, you're going to need a mic for them. I don't know who that person would be, but you're going to need a mic for them. That is my only concern with Imperium, because as much as I like Walter, I don't understand what the hell he says half the time when he's on the mic. Not gonna lie to you. I don't understand. Like, I love the whole thick German Nazi thing. Like, I love it. It's really good for a heel. I just don't know what the fuck he's saying half the time. So he's gonna lose most promo battles. I had somebody in mind and I just forgot them.
Well, we could give you a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can give me a minute. You can come back to me because there's so many possibilities because they're revamping NXT. You can kind of just look at like, okay, they're gonna ship a lot of the old guard out.
Yeah, and here's one of the ones I was saving is Shayna Baszler moving over to SmackDown.
I got the exact same thing, but like I said, we're gonna wait on it. Go ahead, Paul.
I get it, but the reason why I don't like it is because maybe it's my bias. I want Shayna to take the title off Charlotte, and I want her, and I don't see her getting the same kind of traction that she's starting to get after the last 2 weeks. I don't see her getting that on SmackDown at all, because she has a glass ceiling on SmackDown. On Raw, she really doesn't, because the only person really better than her, even character-wise, is Charlotte. And you can literally just rinse, wash, repeat on what you did in NXT with Shayna, and it'll get over. Especially now you've had her. They pretty much did with Shayna what they wanted to do with Karrion Kross. And the fans were just like, no, we're not doing this. Like, this is trash. This is garbage. Screw Karrion Kross. We're going to boo him from now on because you made him look like a BDSM porn star.
Here's my other thing. A lot of mine goes more into the NXT call-ups because of the change to NXT. A lot of these guys staying down there will just end up being more to like pass the torch, but they're not really at that point yet. So like one like Dexter Lumis, he's not doing much. Most of his stuff is just promos. Like how many matches he had so far?
Well, again, I think Dexter Lumis's whole shtick, he's more of a gimmick than he is a wrestler, which is fine for now because at least he's on TV. I think if you move him, you fuck up any momentum that you've had with him and the whole thing he's doing with Indy Hartwell. You screw it up completely.
Well, I mean,
while you also screw up the potential of what that pairing could be down the line, because you have a lot of potential with that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you move Gargano and everybody, you're pretty much killing that storyline.
Well, again, if you move Gargano, you can literally just do a promo on Twitter saying that, Daddy has to go away, Daddy has to move on. I left you with him. Take care of my little girl. Johnny Gargano goes off, and you can continue the storyline with Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. Because at the end of the day, Candice isn't going to be there. She says she's going to work until she can't work anymore. She's already, 3, 4, 5 months pregnant?
Yeah, they're not going to take that.
She's not going to be there. So the only person that's left is Austin Creed or Austin Theory anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like Austin Theory is another guy that makes sense because you can literally put him up with the tag team with Gargano. You can call both of them up as a tag team, or you can separate them and put them on different shows. The problem with Austin Theory, again, no character.
Yeah.
Or you can have him just be in NXT
And here's
and
the thing:
repackage him.
Vince needs to just bite the bullet, call these guys up from NXT, and accept that he's not going to have his big meaty minute for like another couple years or so.
He's not going to accept that, and you know that
he won't. But he needs to bite that bullet, because if not, he's got to release these guys and start from scratch completely with a depleted roster on all sides. They're already depleted as it is, so it's like use them while they're still on the contract or let them go. Another one I was looking at is getting Tommaso Ciampa up as well too, along with Johnny Gargano. Both of them.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
I get it, but I mean,
he just won the NXT title.
How was it said? He's just a placeholder.
That's fine, but you have to at least, like, again, if are they gonna sit there and make the same mistake twice, where you call up your NXT champion twice, your last two NXT champions, you call them up while they hold the title, and then don't use them or use them poorly?
It's
no, I get it, but at the same time, even if it is Vince also isn't stupid, and he saw the reaction, and he saw the fact that Karrion Kross is getting zero traction. He's literally getting nothing.
He don't care. He brought him up with the title and made him lose. Just people realize the NXT champion don't mean jack on this roster here, because he can lose just like anybody else, and he just did.
Yeah, but that was before AEW. That was before AEW just had what they just had. You realize that, right? Everything they're doing now is in reaction to AEW.
Oh, I know. Especially their factions. Like we were just. But
talking. That's what I'm saying. He's not going to make the same mistake twice, because if he saw the reaction that they got for the Jeff Hardy thing, and he saw how many people left to start watching AEW, because they lost a lot of viewers for that.
Oh yeah,
they lost a lot.
They're going to lose more too. They're going to lose more. I mean, Roderick Strong is a champion, which is fine. I'm okay with that one.
But he's also your cruiserweight champion. That's the part that kind of sucks.
Yeah. My question is, what are they going to do with Pete Dunne?
That's the tough one, because it's like you don't want to take him away from the faction that you literally just created, but at the same time,
that faction
kind of have to
fall into the NXT plans either.
Yeah, it doesn't. The faction doesn't make sense.
No, so it's like you could call all three of them up, but just break up the faction.
Yeah,
because they need tag teams as it is too.
Well, then also too, you've seen that they've been using Orny Lorcan as a squash talent, and they're not going to call up Orny Lorcan.
Yeah, but they have enough recruits now that they can use them for squash matches while they get the time in. You know,
right?
Hey, this is Joe Smith. Next thing you know, like 6 months later, it's Von Wagner or whatever. You know,
right?
So
that's the tough part, is that, like, you know, Orny Lorcan and the partner that I can never remember what the hell his name is.
Oh, Danny Burch.
Danny Burch.
Yeah, Danny Burch. They're all, and that's the thing, they're both older guys. Like they're both in their late 30s, early 40s.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it's gonna be tough. I mean, I wish they would call both of them up, because they would have at least a redo on what they messed up with. What the hell is the name of their FTR, their name in WWE?
Oh, the Revival.
Yes, they get a redo for the Revival, which I like. But again, those two guys also work better in a faction, not as a tag team, but in a faction. Now, if you want to call them up, and like, I could see them definitely being like henchmen to Baron Corbin or something like that. That would work. But, you know, that's the part that's tough. But yeah, you know, Pete Dunne, my whole issue with Pete Dunne is literally Pete Dunne's had one title. For all he's done, he's had one title. It was a really long reign. Don't get me wrong, it was a hell of a long reign, but it's kind of, it doesn't mean as much now, because all except Tyler Bates have had a lengthy as hell run with the UK championship. So it's becoming run of the mill that, like, once you win that title, like, you're going to hold it for 16 months. at least. So it doesn't mean as much when you have long reigns.
Long reigns
Like,
are good.
They're good if you don't abuse them. Because literally, there's been since NXT UK came out like damn near 5 years ago. There've been 4 champions.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Not even three.
And I can see why you want
4
Walter
because they just got the 4th.
Yeah, I can see why you want Walter as a long reigning champion, but man, it's
like that hurt.
Yeah, that ring was wild.
It was. There were some good matches though.
So of course.
Yeah. So Betty, what else do you have?
All right. So
I'm pretty much done.
I'm gonna group my number 2 and my number 4 together because they kind of sort of go into the same category anyway. As Jay said earlier, I'm swapping Priest and Nakamura. All right. And we're not pulling the same BS that we did at the last draft where the New Day got drafted to Raw and, Street Profits got drafted to SmackDown and they just gave each other titles.
No, that only happened because of the fact that it's like the problem with that whole thing and the reason why that had to happen is because you have brand specific tag titles. It's the same title, just a different brand. You can't do that with the US and the Intercontinental title.
Well, no, let's put it that you can do that because they're WWE, and I'm getting that right now. The IC title is going to Raw, the US title is going to SmackDown. I'm doing that for 2 reasons. One, because I want Damian Priest over on SmackDown as close to Roman Reigns as possible, garnering all of this support, building his character, and becoming that next dude that's going to be the one to take that belt off of him. I want him over there as soon as possible. The other reason is because, like I said, I am building a Raw mid card that's going to pull that damn show out of the gutter. All right? And
that's how the only way they're going to do it.
It starts right here with this right here. Now, I know damn well the first thing that's going to pop in Jay's mind is we not splitting up couples. I'm splitting up a fucking couple because we got Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins going to Raw.
That's heavy.
Honestly, that's a couple that I'm like, it kind of makes sense because they don't really like even doing stories with each other or acknowledging that they're a couple. The only thing that would make that a problem is who's going to take care of their kid.
I mean, they both got money. And as far as who's going to SmackDown, AJ and Omos, Orton and Riddle. As soon as Orton and Riddle drop the titles to
okay, please, thank you. Please, thank you. Like make that like Monday night they drop the titles type thing because Randy just doesn't. No, literally, Randy doesn't show up to the show and Riddle takes the pin.
And because of the fact that, and the thing is, I think that's where they're going with that story. I believe Matt Riddle's going to be the one that actually turns heel on Orton because of the fact that he's always getting left in and out to dry.
It would make sense.
Now,
and I can see him be like, I hear voices in my head, Randy. They made me do it, Randy. They made me do it.
So I'm sitting here and I'm looking at it like, wow, I just took 2 tag teams off of Raw. But then you start thinking about it for a second. I actually took 3 off, and they had way more still because they still had the War Raiders. They still have the New Day, obviously. Garza and Humberto Carrillo just got made into a tag team. And there's a number of other ones over there that you can still fool around with and do stuff. All right. So you got people over there on top of the fact that I got, draft picks coming up and everything like that. All right. But I have those 2 like that so that you can set up a number of different feuds and things within that mid card. And the reason why I brought Kevin Owens over is because of the fact that I want him right off the bat to feud with Keith Lee until the end of his contract runs out. Give me every bit of that because if Kevin Owens is leaving, put the 2 of them together, let them like just completely wreck each other on the mic and in the ring for the rest of this year. That will set up Keith Lee to do whatever the hell you need him to do. If he's going after Big E, he'll be set up for that. If he's going to take out Shinsuke Nakamura and be the Intercontinental Champion for a little while, he's set up for that as well. Right? And you also have foils coming in for Big E with Seth Rollins. and you can put Finn Balor wherever the hell you damn well.
That's that story with Seth Rollins, though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the story with Seth.
I've been thinking. I've been thinking.
Let's throw it. I want to see that video montage. Like that's a video montage I want, because it's like we fought long before we were famous. He's like, yeah, you may be the first, but I beat you. You may have been in the Shield, but I still beat you. And you gonna come over here thinking about it? I still beat you.
Yep. Well, like I said, that's pretty much my number 2 or my number 4.
I would love for Seth to restart the Shield with different people. Oh, that would be awesome. That'd piss a lot of people off too.
And one of the reasons why I decided to move Seth is honestly because unless you're turning him face and going to put him up there against Roman Reigns,
or give him a faction, or give him a faction
on SmackDown?
Yeah, no, yeah, I get it. I get it. I really do, especially because you teased it and you got right there and you took it away for Edge. I'm like,
yeah,
damn.
But anyway, like I said, that's 2 and 4. Like I said, I got 2 more left after that, so y'all can go ahead.
Jay, you got anything left?
I mean, I got a lot left. It's just I'm trying to think of names because again, it's so NXT is such a weird place right now. It's such a weird situation because theoretically, I'd love to call up Io Shirai, but then do you vacate those titles? Like, do you just do a complete like, huh? No, I get it. Like, I understand it, but I'm like, do you vacate those titles? And if you vacate those titles, like what women? The only women's tag team that was chasing them was Casey and Kaden. There's no one else really chasing those titles. So I'm like, why would you have them lose? Like, and Toxic Attraction, like that's it. And I know it's too early to put it on Toxic Attraction. So like, what was the point of you having them continue to win strong when it's obvious that Io should move up? And it's obvious to me that like, even though Io Shirai on SmackDown is tantalizing, the fact that Io Shirai was the one who pinned, did she pin Charlotte? Did she pin
No, she pinned Rhea.
She pinned Rhea. But even still, having both of them on the show and then having Io show up, knowing that history, that is tantalizing. Like you already now have some kind of built-in rivalries with a lot of the women in the locker room.
I was about to say, you know what? I absolutely love how y'all like reading my mind.
I mean, even there's even a little snippet of Asuka where like, where does Asuka go?
Oh yeah.
Whenever she comes back from injury.
When is Asuka coming back? But you can still the thing is you can still draft her and be like, everybody like, oh, I forgot about Asuka, and then, oh my God, when's Asuka coming? And now, you can just sit there and just tease it.
Did she get shoulder surgery or something?
It looks like either a shoulder or an elbow.
Yeah, because I'm like thinking, because like, it looks like it's shoulder, but I don't want to rule out the elbow because there's like that brace is huge, and it's like hugging like the arm. So I'm like, is that her shoulder, or is that because of her elbow? Like, I gotta look it up. I don't know. But let me see what I got here. Let me see if there's anybody else I think about moving, because like I thought about switching Priest and Nakamura as well too.
I think honestly those two are interchangeable. Oh, what am I talking about? You still have John Morrison, who you definitely should flip. You should split him up from the Miz. So you move either one of those guys to the opposite show. 100%. And you literally look at the Miz as a main eventer and bring him back as a main eventer because he works for either guy, either champion. He works for either champion.
Ready for this?
Hey, yo. I'm sorry. Could you imagine what Roman Reigns would do to the Miz?
Wait, didn't they have?
Can you imagine what Miz? I think they've had a couple of matches, but I
Yeah,
mean,
they had
can
a
you
few.
just imagine what the Miz would do to Roman Reigns on a mic?
That'd be great.
That'd be fantastic.
Like that's the thing. Like I always said, the Miz is not and when it comes to a match, he can't lead you. He's a great partner. He can't lead the match. But when it comes to the
And
mic skills, though,
Roman can lead a match. Yeah, and Roman can lead a match. Roman can lead the hell out of a match.
The Miz and the mic skills. Oh.
And this not Roman Reigns, but Joe Anoa'i on the mic with the Miz. We're talking like some deep truth. We're talking like some deep cut truth on that one.
Yeah, and the thing too, like you said, like Roman now can actually lead matches. Unlike before, he was having trouble, but now
like
he
they can put on a banger.
Yeah,
if really allowed to, they can put on a banger.
And the thing is, he can actually, unlike with the Bobby match, it's like when he fought Bobby, like Bobby's gonna destroy him. It's just freaking Bobby's gonna destroy him. It's gonna wreck him. But with Roman's big, but he's not like monstrous big like Bobby's. Like it's like I'll eat your kids, you and your kids and shit.
Yeah.
Roman's like he's just big, so he can hang with him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
and that's the thing. Roman's used to wrestling smaller guys as well as bigger guys. Mm-hmm. You know, Bobby's used to wrestling smaller guys, but when Bobby wrestles bigger guys, he looks out of place because he can only do the power game.
Here's a name: Tony Storm to Raw.
You know what? I don't like that only in the sense that we barely got to see her on SmackDown.
But that's the thing.
She just got called up, and it's like
I know. But here's the thing: it's like what are they doing? Just put it to Raw, put her on Raw, and then like
what the hell are they gonna do with her on Raw?
I want to see her. I want to see her and Charlotte go at it.
They're not gonna put her in a match with Charlotte. And that's my thing with SmackDown. At the very least, you can put Tony in a match in a feud with Sasha Banks. You can put her in a feud with Bianca Belair. You don't have to put her immediately against your champion. You can even put her in a small little feud like they were supposed to do on 9/11 and have her feud with Liv Morgan. She was supposed to be in a partnership with Selena Vega because she's supposed to be a heel apparently, which doesn't make sense, but you know. But also her being on SmackDown with Zelina Vega is a little bit of why I like Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH getting drafted to SmackDown, even though they can go to Raw. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So it's even if they lose the title, that's a team they can still kind of feud with.
Here's a question. Mia Yim, what do you guys have her at? Staying on Raw or moving her to SmackDown?
In my universe, I don't have her on the list, but she's staying on Raw.
I think she should stay on Raw because you can't just gut Raw. And that's the thing. A lot of these situations, we tend to gut Raw because we know how bad a lot of that talent has been mistreated. But the thing is with SmackDown, there's also a lot of guys at the problem is the people that you would move from SmackDown, you like, oh, they would put them in the 24/7 title scene. Oh, they would never even see the women's title scene. You wouldn't even put them in a women's tag team scene. Like that's a part of the problem. Is because now that you have that 24/7 title and they're defending it as if it's a low card title, which is fine. I don't mind them having Reggie actually wrestle matches. I just hate the stipulation of now everybody's sitting around the ring waiting for the end of the match. And then all of a sudden, 24/7 rules back on. And I'm like, that's stupid. Like, just make it a lower mid card thing. And if you're going to do it, like a guy like Ricochet makes sense. Like there are some, like a guy like Reggie makes sense there because he can do some things and bring eyes to the title. The only issue is that it's a 24/7 title, so it's kind of campy. And Reggie doesn't actually wrestle; he just does tricks. So, like, do you have him lose to someone who's a little like? Do you have him lose to like a John Morrison, and have John Morrison carry the title? You know, do you have him lose to Jinder Mahal? And Jinder Mahal have a title, you know? Like, who do you have him lose it to? That's the problem with 24/7 title. Like, I loved when they had Mojo do it because Mojo was a perfect kind of talent. You don't have those guys anymore. I mean, you have Drew Gulak at this point, who's probably a great guy because I know he's a great locker room guy, but in terms of character and wrestler, it's not there. Oh, another name. I think they're on Raw. Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo to SmackDown. Just to beef up that actual tag division where like I can look at these two guys and I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're not doing anything. Them putting those two guys together and they don't have a name for themselves makes sense.
Here's my thing. Should I'm getting to a point. Like, should they just be like, okay, SmackDown is where you're gonna see tag team matches, and Raw is where you see women's matches, but then the men's singles will still be the same. Like,
that's tough. That is tough
because the way the roster right now is depleted, it's like you haven't you barely got anything.
That the problem with that is that now you would have to combine the women's title, and then even though it beefs up the main event scene for the women's title, it kind of screws
everybody else.
Yeah.
So like, honestly, if you were to do that, you would have to make a women's mid-card title, and I don't think they're ever going to go that route.
I mean, again, we're also talking about the knee-jerk reaction thing, and the rumor is that AEW is going to drop a women's mid-card title soon.
Yeah, they've been saying that for a while.
I heard like it's greenlit.
Last I heard, they were working on designing the belt.
Yeah.
So I knew it was coming along because they were making that belt. It was just at what point were they gonna actually do it? Now, as I mentioned like before with you guys, it seems like now they're going with factions because, as we saw, that Hurt Business is back together. I feel like they're gonna start making more factions too, and they're probably gonna call up made factions as well.
And see, that's where it's tough because there are guys that like you missed on heavily. Like the Hurt Business shouldn't have been Cedric and Sheldon. Love them. Shouldn't have been those guys. It should have been Keith Lee and Ricochet. Honestly,
I don't think it should have been Keith Lee. I could argue yes for Ricochet, but the thing is, you don't want somebody that is a threat to Bobby because Bobby needs to be the focal point. If you have anybody there that can like overshadow him, you don't want that. So that's why I'm saying I don't think you want Keith Lee in there. That's why I'm okay with Ricochet being in there. I agree with that one. Just not the Keith Lee.
The reason why I say that is because, again, the reason why you have a guy like Keith Lee is because then you can have that Randy Orton moment with Evolution. You can have those big blow-ups of like where the faction splits. You can have that Nation of Domination type of split. And you can slow burn it because, yeah, I get what you're saying. Bobby's supposed to be the focal point, but that's exactly the reason why you have a Keith Lee there. Because the fact with Keith Lee, when he came up, he had so much fanfare that you didn't need to put him in the Hurt Business.
Mm-hmm. Now,
you need to put him in the Hurt Business because he's not a... They've broken him down so much that like you don't really know what Keith Lee you're getting. Like Bearcat, I get the homage, I get the nod, I even get the legal reasons as to why they would add a nickname to him. But what does that mean? What does that do? You just put, Wolverine claws on a unitard and that's what we're gonna do? And he's just gonna be a big, grumpy, angry heel that's gonna wrestle like a big man? No, it's not gonna work. It's not going to get him over. He's not Braun Strowman. He's not huge in terms of height. He's a big man, but he's not a behemoth. He's more of a Mark Henry in terms of build.
Here's one. You have Mace, but they pull Mace and they pull a transformation. They turn him from like being whatever he is, and they clean him up.
Yeah, that's a perfect
That's
kind of
like a
guy.
whole like
You know,
storyline with itself.
I was thinking about that earlier. It's just that how much in-ring experience does Dio Madden actually have by himself?
I don't think he has
Don't
much.
know, but
That's why
that's
with,
exactly why you put
Dominic.
him in the Hurt Business.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you can hide him.
That's why you put him there. Like, not only can you hide him, but you have four veterans that can help guide him, that can bring him along, that can mentor him,
Mm-hmm.
I got
and
a
that
real
can get
dangerous
him
one for
out
you,
of
though.
this, goofy kind of thing that he's in.
Yeah.
I got a real dangerous one for you.
What's that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you think about it, it doesn't make sense, but at the same time, you're like, wait a minute. If they were to do this, what if they put Omos in the Hurt Business?
I've thought about that on several occasions. I've definitely thought about that on more than one occasion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it works though.
I
think it could work.
Mm-hmm.
My
It's
only
just
problem, like the two issues that
the
I have
man
with
can't
it,
speak
Omos,
English.
No, he can speak English. Omos is actually very charismatic and he articulates very well. The issues that I have with it is the fact that Omos cannot stand on his own as a wrestler.
No.
And because of the fact that he can't stand on his own as a wrestler, he would legitimately just be put there as a background character and be muscle for Lashley. The problem is, why the hell does Bobby Lashley need muscle?
Mm-hmm.
He's his own muscle.
Right.
Which would basically put you in the same position of Keith Lee being in the Hurt Business. Now, I like the idea of Keith Lee being in the Hurt Business, but I would only really like Keith Lee being in the Hurt Business if there was no NXT. If you're talking about Keith Lee showing up on the main roster with no WWE history whatsoever, that works perfectly. To me, the moment he joins the Hurt Business, I'll wait for them to implode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's because you already know who Keith Lee is.
Right. And the same thing applies kind of sort of with Omos. It's not to the same extent because Omos doesn't have the in-ring history. But at the same time, you're looking at it like, all right, well, if you're taking the focal point off of Lashley being the muscle, the headliner of the Hurt Business, like he's still the headliner. But the fact is, he has somebody behind him that can literally beat the shit out of everybody else in the freaking faction. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, all right, at what point is Omos going to get tired of being the guy that's his back? And you're just waiting for it to boil over.
See, the problem I have with them investing in a guy like Omos is it's not a knock on him, but he's never going to be a singles wrestler. He's never going to be a singles wrestler. You can't. The man can't move.
No,
like
he's one knee injury away from walking, kind of like what's his name?
What you mean one knee injury? He's one back injury, hip injury, like. One bad bump, from he's the essentially the great Khali. That's essentially what he is, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like they made Khali champion, and it was like, what?
I don't know.
Yeah, like it's still like a what? What the fuck are you guys doing?
I don't know. Whose turn is it?
Yours. I'm done with my list.
Still yours.
Yeah.
No, I'm shooting from the hip because I didn't. Yeah. I thought we were talking about the NFL draft this whole time until we got on here. You told me it was,
and I was just writing mine down.
I was completely just. I'm somewhere else.
I didn't write mine. I didn't write mine down. Just like off the top of my head, I shot it. Like, all right, this is the moves I would make, but I never put them in order. Like my number one move would have been like Legado and Fantasma going up to like SmackDown, pretty much. That would have been my number one move.
Although, just to piggyback off of that real quick. Yeah, I know you have another woman in Legado right now, but you already have a setup. Zelina's over there on SmackDown.
Fam, we've been preaching for that for so long, bruh. Like, not even that. I could see crazy enough, and I don't know if it probably would never work, but I could see a situation where Bianca Belair joins Hit Row and it causes beef between Swerve and Montez.
Here's another one for you. You got Legado Fantasma there, and you keep Mysterious on SmackDown. You put him on SmackDown as well, and then
Yep.
little
I
by
already know where you're
little,
going with it.
little by little,
Yep.
you get that
Yep.
LWO. And you know who brings it up? The one who loved Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie, Baby Mysterio. Because they're already talking about putting him in a mask and turning him heel. I'm like, no, don't put him in a mask. I get it. I know he's Rey Mysterio's son, but please don't put that kid in the mask. Yeah. Because he's never going to be able to stand on his own 2 feet if you put him in a mask.
He's not ready.
I'm going to be real with you. I don't think there's any point. We've already seen his face.
No,
exactly. It doesn't make sense.
It was just a whole thing where Mysterio's hiding his face. I'm like, bro, why are you hiding your face for? All I gotta do is go back to WCW back in the early 2000s, and you're wrestling without a mask for a long time.
Not even that. When Andrade used to come out with a mask and then take it off, I was like, I don't get it. When he's supposed to be like the king of the Latinos, but he's saying F Lucha Libre by taking off his mask. I never understood that.
He's basing his character. If you look at his character, he's basing his character off of the Black Mask character from DC Comics.
From Batman. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about when he was in WWE. I'm not talking about now.
Oh, that. I think it was more paid like, hey, I'm from Lucha Libre, and this is who I am now. So it's kind of just doing that. Because the thing is because they had him on mask because he lost the match. So it's like, hey, this is me. Remember me? Yeah, this is me now. That's all it was.
Whatever. Whatever. It doesn't make sense.
Anyway, so I'm about to hit my
even
right now.
Naomi joining Hit Row because everybody's talking about the bloodline, but what if Hit Row were to get called up to SmackDown and Naomi joins Hit Row, and then Swerve and all of them try to come at the bloodline and put her in the middle of it?
Oh wait, I got a better one. What if Naomi and Bianca join Hit Row both together?
So it almost forces the bloodline and the Street Profits to work together. Oh, that'd be uncomfortable for everybody.
Like you have not even, you just have a 3-way, they're both going after Hit Row, but they don't like each other as it is. So it's nah, screw that. I'm not working with you. You know what I'm saying? It's like a triple
then
threat.
I could also see it be a situation where Roman Reigns is like, I'm not touching that. I'm not getting involved. Y'all handle that because this is beneath me.
Yeah,
you handle your woman.
Which works?
You handle your woman.
And then Brock Lesnar is still around, so you still got the same thing with Paul Heyman going on too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have Roman Reigns what the f is going on right now?
Yeah,
y'all need to handle y'all right now because this is getting ridiculous.
And that's how you can keep the Usos storyline busy out of Roman Reigns, and he'd be like, "What the hell?" Then at one point, Roman could be like, "You know what? I need you guys back. I'm gonna deal with this. I'm gonna go deal with this."
And then that it depends because you can also use that to make Swerve a mega star. You can make Swerve a mega star out of that, but it's do you want? If they're not going to push Ricochet, they're damn sure not going to push Swerve.
I don't know because Swerve is a little, not that much, but he's a little bigger than Rico.
He's taller than Rico. That's it.
No, his build is just a little bit, not much.
No, he's small. He's definitely I've seen pictures. Okay. He's smaller than Rico.
Oh, really? I thought he was just a little.
Rico's got him by maybe 7 or 8 pounds of pure muscle because Swerve isn't Debo. Swerve's built like me. He's slender. He's just cut up. Rico is built Rico lives in the gym, bro.
Yeah. He does.
So that's what I'm saying.
White.
But come on now. Casey weighs what? Two whole gallons of milk.
Yeah, something like that. Casey's $105, $110 maybe, and that's
soaking wet.
Yeah,
when nickels in her pockets.
Yeah, I don't even know if they're still together because I don't even see them post together.
They are.
I'm
they are. They low key post. You have to I saw follow.
You gotta follow the breadcrumbs. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta follow the breadcrumbs.
Yeah. Anyway, like I said, my number 3 right here. All right, we about to shake up this women's division.
All right.
Thank God.
Because we got heavy hitters over there on SmackDown. Yeah, 3 of the 4 horsewomen when Bayley comes back. There's 1 horsewoman over on Raw. That is Charlotte. And I want Shayna Baszler as far away from Charlotte Flair as possible.
I get it. I understand.
I am scared to death that they're going to do the exact same thing that they did to Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to have her job out to Charlotte for God knows why. So I am sending Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax over to SmackDown.
Hell, why are you putting them together?
I'm not. They're going over there as they are right now. They're separate, and Shayna and Nia can kind of sort of continue whatever feud that they got going on over on SmackDown until Shayna finally, vanquishes her, and Nia goes off to do whatever the hell else she was going to do. The hell, that could be your bloodline person, if for the women. As far as
I'd still say Dakota Kai would probably be a better choice, but proceed.
The other thing is Shayna Baszler owes somebody over on SmackDown, the women's champion. She owes her a receipt, a big one.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that you got a built-in story right there. Now, this is the reason why I'm doing that. Because SmackDown right now, in my little universe, is incredibly top-heavy. Like I said, you got Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Bayley. You have Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax all over there, right? Because you have all of those heavy hitters, including Naomi. I'm sorry, I forgot about her, right? Because you have all of those heavy hitters over there, I'm moving a bunch of people out of that women's locker room, right? So I'm taking Toni Storm, Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart, and Liv Morgan, sending them all over to Raw.
Golly, he just got called over there. He took that whole squad out.
That would hurt Liv so bad, man.
I'm taking them all over there simply because of the fact that if you look at the way that I have them constructed, Raw at this point in time is literally all mid-card and Charlotte. Meaning that mid-card is going to need to have a star come out of it. So now you have the opportunity with all of these people right here to create yourself. As a matter of fact, not even opportunity. You are now forced to create a new star to come out of there. And then on top of that, I got call-ups coming up too.
Oh yeah, side note on the call-ups. Somebody that I just kind of scrolled through Twitter and it just hit me that no one talked about him. Happy Corbin to Raw.
Fuck him.
Nah, but he's literally the perfect foil to either Drew McIntyre or Big E coming out of that feud.
To a point, I would agree with that, especially in what I'm about to do with mine. I'm just like, I need another heavy hitter over on SmackDown, and that's technically him. So I'm just gonna leave him over there in my little world. All right, but that, like I said, that's the majority of the regular, just straight up main roster moves that I got. My last thing is going to be NXT stuff. And matter of fact, screw it. Let's finish this off right now. All right. So my call-ups from NXT to Raw: Io Shirai.
So you just gonna break up them titles? Just
You're goddamn right. Those titles mean nothing. There's no reason for them to be around. Right?
No,
they screwed that mess up when they had them. When they had the WWE Women's Tag Titles down there, and they didn't make the move to just pull them off. I forgot who it was that had them or whatever at the time, but they screwed that mess up. It was
Nia and Shayna.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah,
that was absolutely.
They're supposed to be on like Raquel and Dakota Kai. I think.
And Dakota, because they're the ones that won.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I said, so Io to Raw, as well as from NXT UK, Walter and Jordan Devlin.
Oh, the Jordan Devlin one.
That one is interesting. Yeah,
that is very interesting. I forgot about Jordan Devlin. He did say he would be back.
I say that for a couple of reasons. You got Finn Balor over on Raw. You got Seth Rollins over on Raw. Could you imagine the battles for the Intercontinental Championship?
I mean, sure, if you let him. You gotta let him.
I know. Here's the other thing. You got Walter on Raw. You got Drew McIntyre on Raw. And you got Sheamus on Raw.
So you just out here
Sheamus-
slapping
yeah.
titties, huh?
Big,
Yeah.
meaty men slapping meat.
Sheamus will join him sooner
Mhm.
later though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just had surgery for his
No,
nose.
no, no.
Yeah,
Well,
he had
yeah.
nasal surgery. Same thing
Yeah.
with Alexa Bliss. She just has surgery in her nose, or she's going to.
Oh, did she? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
All right. As far as going to SmackDown, I have Dakota Kai,
Mm-hmm.
Pete Dunne,
Mm.
and my man Kyle O'Reilly, all going to SmackDown.
I forgot about KOR.
That's pretty
That's
much.
the thing. The reason why I never called him up is because I don't even know what he is, and I wouldn't know what to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I love him as a wrestler. I love him. But you taking him away from the Intercontinental title and putting him in the US title picture puts him against Priest. And I can't believe, as good as Priest is, I can't look at that matchup and say, Kyle O'Reilly could definitely be Damian Priest.
No.
It's not believable for me.
One of the reasons why I set up Damian Priest and Shinsuke go swapping places is because the other thought that immediately went in my head is, how about we move Apollo over to Raw? And that immediately went out of my head because I'm like, I don't want Apollo anywhere near Big E whatsoever.
Nope.
No, we don't need any more of that ever.
Nigerian drum matches don't want that.
Nope.
One was enough.
I was completely done with that. So if Apollo is going to stay over there, then you got to move the title, right? Put the title over there on SmackDown. So now you have the opportunity. Let's say you can have Apollo against Kyle O'Reilly. You can have Kyle O'Reilly going up against I had the name in my head and I completely forgot who I was going to talk about.
Scratch all that. Sami Zayn is still on SmackDown.
Yes, he is.
Kyle O'Reilly and Sami Zayn is a United States champion. Oh my Lord.
The one
Have mercy.
It just popped back into my head. Chad Gable versus Kyle O'Reilly.
That is great and all, but I feel like if you move up Kyle, unfortunately, they're gonna stick him in the tag division.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Which would just break my heart because they did so much great work to establish him as a credible individual star, just to shoot him in the foot and like pair him with like Johnny Gargano or something in the tag division. Just ugh.
Yeah, no, I'm like, it's a definite possibility. What was that?
What else you got, Benny?
Pardon me for.
I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, but it's like, Kyle O'Reilly getting moved up to anywhere where he could get put into a tag team makes my stomach turn.
Yeah, I was trying to remember exactly the makeup of this team, but it doesn't work anymore.
Especially because like you just released Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish. And that's where I was going.
You just released Bobby Fish. You just released Adam Cole, who both are actually going to be on AEW because Bobby Fish is challenging for the TNT title. FYI.
Heard about it earlier.
I like that.
Like I said, the thought that had popped into my mind was like, if you're going to relegate Kyle O'Reilly to the tag division, why not reform Red Dragon? Even if you're not going to call him that. But the thing, I was like, I couldn't remember who the other member was, and I was thinking Roderick Strong, but it's not him. It was Bobby Fish. So, hell, like I said, I don't know what are they doing aside from having him run the cruiserweight title. How long does Diamond Mine have in NXT 2.0?
Until they can establish a star out of there to have someone else take it off of him.
Who freaking knows right now?
Yeah, because at 205 Live, they got people over 205 wrestling in that one.
So they got women. It's just an extra show now.
Yeah, they just need to rebrand that thing, and might as well. It's just there's no need.
All right, but anyway, like I said that's my setup right there. Whatever.
Yeah, and then there's some good moves and there's some good matches that come out of that one, and some good storylines if they do it right. That they can drag on into a couple pay-per-views, maybe even to the Royal Rumble, leading into Mania. It's just a matter of Vince taking his head out of his ass, though.
Yeah, but also now you're also doing a lot to screw up War Games. That's all I'm saying. And War Games is in November.
Yeah, and I think the moving of the date was a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Again,
because I think had you done this after War Games, would have been great. Would have been incredible.
You can call up both Legado Fantasma and Hit Row after they did their work
and put them on different shows. Yeah. Because if you move either one of those guys, it's either one of those teams, and it's like, what do you do? Why have you been building these two teams going after each other? And then on top of that, Swerve has a title, so it's like you're not only taking probably multiple titles off of the show, but now you're a situation where it's like NXT 2.0 already has people feeling like it doesn't matter.
That's kind of short because it doesn't at the moment.
And here's the thing,
it doesn't, but it's like even if it's a developmental brand, you want the titles to mean something.
Yeah, but here's the thing too: if Hit Row gets called up, right? It's like, okay, and then like, oh, Isaiah Scott's defending his title. Well, he's going to lose it because he's got called up. You know it's going to happen.
It should be one of those situations like what they did with Asuka, where when they call a guy up when they still have a title, they should just vacate it.
Yeah.
And just vacate it to a point where there's no storyline. There's no, like, if they would have just vacated Karrion Kross's thing, and it's like, well, he just came back and they vacated. So what? They vacated it. It's done. We're starting over.
He could be like, he could be like, I clean house here. I got nobody else to fight, so
I don't know. I don't want to hear nothing from him. I don't want to hear a promo. I don't want to hear nothing. I just want them to say it's vacated, it's done, bye, move on. Because I'd rather that where you're just gonna cut ties completely than to have them try to do a storyline reason why this happened. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well,
and at this point too, I'm thinking about it. We also don't know how long Joe is out. Because again, Samoa Joe is still coming into play here, even though it's a situation where he literally said, he was like, I feel bad for whoever the next NXT champion is. And I don't think he's going to come back to attack Tommaso Ciampa. I think it's going to be one of these new kids. It's going to be that Brett Baker guy or Brian Brecker. Whatever Braun his Breaker. Name is. There you go. That's his name.
Braun Baker.
It literally sounds like something you put in a randomizer on 2K22, and that's the name that came out. You're
that's
like,
probably
okay.
That's why I found it. That's why I made it up. Watch you buy 2K22 as a randomizer name comes out. Braun Breaker. Like, oh, that's what I came out with the name.
In it. Watch you be in it.
Oh yeah.
And that's the thing. I think it's another reason why I think the game is delayed is because they have to completely redo the rosters.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what's gonna hurt the game though, because they have to completely redo the rosters. Because not everybody's gonna make it in.
Yeah, because they gotta scan some of these new people in there and take some of the old ones out, and there's gonna be updates off the rip. First 5 days will be like an update of the roster already. I can see it.
Yep.
I wonder if they ever got that whole licensing thing out of the way with Randy Orton and his tattoo artist.
Oh, I don't know. I thank God they don't have to do it with Braun Strowman anymore, where they literally have the Superman, like, they have the outline, but they can't put the S in there because of like issues with DC. So it just looks like a giant diamond. And it looks so stupid. Or like the fact that you literally couldn't get Roman Reigns' tattoos. Like they would put them in the game, but you couldn't get them.
It would be funny if they actually put like a giant B there instead of the S for Superman.
That's what they should have done.
Like, I hate licensing. I honestly do.
We're going a little off track, but here's another one. I think Jay, you brought this up. So Marvel's getting sued by the families.
Oh my God! I don't even want to talk about that. Let's get back to wrestling because I'm so done with that. But on the plus side, Scarlett Johansson, the issue is resolved. They made peace.
You get her money.
The word is there is no exact number, but it's in the tens of millions.
Good.
Now, when you say peace, is there a possibility of her coming back if they need her to come back?
Per the statement from both parties, that's what it sounds like.
Okay. That's what I
but
figured.
it definitely won't be in a major capacity. Like, it's not going to be in a situation where she gets reintroduced and she's a constant figure. Like, it'll be, you'll see her in spots maybe. Like, they could definitely call her and she'll pop up somewhere for something, or they'll use her in like a flashback or something. It's not going to be that you're going to get Natasha Romanoff back full time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody, I guess that's any last thoughts we got over here, guys, on this draft before we end the show?
Again, I think the thing that hurt them the most is what they did to NXT with this rebrand.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it is so divisive, and I'm definitely on the side of the people where I hate the new look, I hate the new vibe, I just don't like it, because NXT was definitely, it basically went from what I saw with my generation being like the last generation of like alternative rock, Green Day, Linkin Park, that whole thing, to the Lil Nas X generation. Where like, it's not a knock on the artist or whatever. It's just the whole thing is so different that it just excommunicates any fans that really, really spent the time and years buying into a lot of the vibe and the wrestler. And it had like, NXT had like that cool punk rock indie feel to it, where it was like, this is where all the kids came when they didn't want to go to the major, like, festivals. They went to like the basement grunge and they just jammed out on like dirty guitars and shit.
CBGB.
And yeah, where everyone didn't really have to wear deodorant. You just kind of did it for like the love of wrestling. Now it's like, oh no, we're gonna bring it to like this new club. We're gonna add EDM. We're gonna add strobe lights and colors, and then we're like, no, stop. Like, I look at NXT now and I'm like, stop. You introduce like 7 or 8 new people randomly. And the funny thing is it's done wonders for their mid-card. Their mid-card in their women's division, I love what they're doing. But the main event with like all these Von Wagner, Braun Breaker. Bitch, what? Who are you? What? No, stop. And then everyone's like new gear is mad colorful and patterny and shit. Like, how do you even have the NXT rebrand and their title still looks the same? Like, the title is still the black and gold brand when you're not the black and gold brand.
But wait, hold on.
I'm sure they're gonna have a new one soon.
Don't give them any ideas.
No, they're coming.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. They're gonna get like the white strap, and it's gonna be like tie-dye colored. It's literally like going from Cactus Jack to Dude Love.
I think what's gonna happen is like
people are.
Go ahead, buddy.
People have been comparing the new NXT to a unicorn throwing up or a Skittles factory blown up.
That's what it looks like.
Oh yeah,
that's what it looks like, and I hate it.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be like it's gonna be like Jay said, like a white strap, and I think on the metal piece, it'll say NXT. Yeah, it's gonna have like a colorful background on the back.
It looks like
honestly wouldn't be surprised
as if Xavier Woods like won the NXT title and they had like a New Day title. Like, that's what it's gonna look like.
I wouldn't be surprised if they go the route of having the white strap with that explosion of color all over the white strap.
Yeah, I can see it. But like, again, they can't really use gold because it's always going to be compared to the black and gold brand. They can't really use gold anymore. So it's like, what do you make the title silver now? Like, what do you make it bronze? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you have to use gold, but then it's like, because the NXT symbol looks so different, how do you distinguish it from the black and gold brand?
This is the goddamn title. I don't want.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, even like when the NXT title went from the old, like cartoonish, almost like kid replica title with the big X on it to that, When they went to that, I'm like, okay, that really legitimizes the title. Now that you're probably gonna have to change it, it's like you may even just get that title with like the strap that's like white with, like you said, like the random colors on it.
Mm-hmm.
But then it doesn't look like a world title. It doesn't.
No.
It looks like a mid card title at that point.
It looks worse than a mid card title.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to be nice, man. Come on
no,
now.
I'm not being nice about it.
I'm trying to be nice for once in a while with this.
You really ruined a good thing. This is called the heel heat for a reason. You ruined a good thing.
Paul, you probably remember this. Do you remember when the Ultimate Warrior won the WWF title?
Oh yeah.
Changed the strap and it was like powder blue.
Oh, it was different colors.
I saw those titles.
It also happened with Rick Rude. Like a powder blue, it was a pink, it was a white, it was.
Didn't somebody have like a yellow?
It was a yellow as well. I think Kurt Hennig had that. It was a bunch of different colors. I forgot the reason behind it. There was a reason behind it. I just can't remember what it was. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
I'm so afraid of what they're gonna do to this thing.
Oh my god. I'm preparing myself for the worst. And like I hear a lot of people talking about like, oh well, you guys heard about it and already was like, you guys convinced yourself that you were gonna hate it. I'm like, here's the thing. When you already have an established brand and it's not failing, and you fix it with rainbow colors because, I don't know, your competition's main gimmick for Dynamite was the whole rainbow pop of color thing. You look sus. And it's like you're bringing in younger talent. I get it. But the whole point of NXT and the reason why it worked, before you decided to panic, the reason why it worked was because of the fact that you had a group of talent that you had built up over an extended period of time that had done everything that they could do for this brand. And you've seen them grow, you've seen them mature, and they got to a place where you're like, okay, they're at the top of their game, whether they're at the top of the title picture or they're just one of the more established stars. You had them, and then you had them go out in the way that they were supposed to do in wrestling companies, where you go out on your back, pushing up, the next big star. And then you moved on and essentially let those guys build on the characters that they had. Like, it worked with Kevin Owens, it worked with Sami Zayn, it worked with Drew McIntyre when he came back. It worked with Andrade to a degree. They just didn't push Andrade once he got there. But it worked with Seth Rollins. Well, no, it didn't, because they completely changed Seth Rollins. It worked with Big E. It took him a while to get his footing, but it's because he didn't get pushed. And because essentially you just didn't let him talk. But it worked with Finn Balor. It worked with Samoa Joe. Like, it worked with all of your top guys. It would have worked with Adam Cole had you moved him up earlier.
Had you moved him up as Adam Cole.
Yeah, and you moved Undisputed Era up. It's Undisputed Era. Like, don't get me wrong, I love what they did with Kyle O'Reilly. I love that Kyle O'Reilly got his own little solo run, and the work he did with Adam Cole was amazing. That being said, it's the same thing that they did with Keith Lee the year previous. When Keith Lee was at the height of his buzz, after that Survivor Series, there's no reason to me that you can say that Keith Lee shouldn't have lost the NXT title in December and his call-up should have happened at the Royal Rumble. Because even if he didn't win, you shouldn't have put him in that spot with Brock Lesnar. That was moronic. The fact that you even have Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble match was terrible booking. I get it. You set up him and Drew. Cool. There are a million other ways you could have done that. You could have still had Drew win. You could have had Drew eliminate freaking Keith Lee so that you have that built in. But it's the same thing even with Rhea Ripley. Those two were hot. That's when you call them up. You don't wait for them to completely cool down, go cold, and then call them up and be like, well, we don't know what to do with them because the fans aren't behind them. What? Are you dumb? Same thing with Adam Cole. You had him beat your absolute top of the card guys, clean, and then you didn't call them up.
You had him show up on SmackDown and beat Daniel Bryan.
Like I said, you had your two. He didn't he beat Seth Rollins?
I don't remember if he actually beat Seth Rollins or not.
But I know he beat Daniel Bryan.
I know he beat Daniel Bryan.
Real quick, going
And
back
you don't
to
have them, and you don't have them get called up. I mean, again, the problem too is that WWE has had this long run of heel champions. Because literally when Drew won the title, right? And I get it, you didn't want to do it in the what's it called? The Thunderdome era, right? Because you wouldn't get the crowd reaction. I understand it, right? But it's even a situation now. And that I think the pandemic kind of screwed that up, because I think you could have literally brought the Undisputed Era up the same way you brought them up in NXT, like verbatim. You have Drew stand tall, you have Drew win the title, he's all happy-go-lucky, and then he gets jumped by the Undisputed Era. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And as soon as their music hits, or as soon as they show up and you see Adam Cole and you see those type of old school type of muggings, and then you finally get the match between Drew McIntyre and Adam Cole. The one match that we legitimately never got. That attack never got paid off. Doesn't make sense. But no, now they went from doing that to, oh, we have too many people on our roster.
I don't know, man. Paul, what would you about to say?
all right. So in regards to the IC title, it changed colors 8 times.
Oh,
apparently that was something you could do if you wanted. It was like it was not set to just be in black. So when Shawn Michaels had it in 2 of his runs, he had it in powder blue and white variations.
ugh.
When Goldust had it, he had it like as a gold strap to match
That's
his
actually
look.
That made
cool.
sense.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Powder blue. What are you doing,
Dustin
Sean?
Rhodes, bro. The Rhodes family knows what they're doing, man. That legacy, they know what they're doing.
True.
I'm just saying.
No, I'm like specifically talking about the Winged Eagle though. I specifically remember that belt not having a black strap for a time.
The Winged Eagle? I don't remember.
And I literally remember hating it.
Maybe
well, it's in video
it.
games, so I know it happened. It's in all the games, so I know it happened. The
Winged
Eagle literally is around the time I was born. That was the title that was there. So I'm not familiar that much with the Winged Eagle. My upbringing was definitely the next iteration of it, where it was more of a circle.
You mean the greatest belt ever? Yeah.
Yes, that one. That was the title I grew up with. So
I remember the Winged
Eagle. I don't care what anybody says. That is the best damn title WWE has ever come up with.
Specifically WWE, because I think the best looking title of all time is Big Gold. But that is definitely a close second.
Big Goldie is my favorite. I'll always say that. Winged Eagle's my second favorite.
No, the circular one for me is my second favorite. The Winged Eagle looks cool on certain guys. It looks corny on others because it is so small. Like it's not.
Yeah,
I like the fact that when they made it a little bigger and they made it more circular, it fit the bigger guy. Like it fit the heavyweight kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the other things that and I think Brian Zane brought this up before too, when he was doing his title comparisons and things like that. One of the reasons why the Winged Eagle changed is because that was right around the time that they started feuding with WCW, and WCW's title was just so much bigger than theirs, so that they decided to make Big Eagle out of at their main title rather than having the Winged Eagle continue.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, guys. Anything else any final thoughts before we end this show?
I just hope And I know they are going to screw it up. I just don't think I've screwed up that bad to where it's unwatchable because it's barely watchable now. Like
Good luck.
I went from you guys can go back and look at it. I went from being like, I don't even watch main roster shows. I just watch NXT because I love it so much to like haven't watched the NXT show since literally when they announced they were doing a reboot. I haven't watched since the week before that where it was the old NXT. I haven't watched it since because nothing. I barely watched any of the weekly shows. Thank God for social media because that's the only way I'm able to talk about it. But like,
yeah. I mean, I was surprised when they added
it is
Lopez.
unwatchable. Yeah, he just found out about that, which is crazy because Electra's been around for a little minute now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is so just. I hope it makes it watchable. I hope it makes it interesting. Like I've been watching Raw a little bit recently, and it's gotten better. It's not great, but it's gotten better.
Yeah. Benny, final thoughts?
Nothing really. I was about to say something really messed up, but nah.
My final thoughts are just watching this draft and see where they're going and see what knee-jerk reactions are done. And the one I want to pay attention to is are they going to play any favorites? And I mean like in regards to Fox over NBC or vice versa.
That's the biggest thing.
The one.
That's the one
to watch.
Because they pissed off both parties, like royally pissed off both parties.
They've been pissing off both parties the entire time.
No, but I heard it's gotten
worse.
It's bad. It is bad right now.
I've heard somebody say that Fox can't wait till the deal's over because they just had it.
How long is the deal?
I forgot. Was it 5 years? 5 years?
It's only 5 years. What is it? 5 years, 500 billion or something like that, or 500 million or something. Like it was a
5
huge
years.
number.
5 years for just over $1 billion because I think it's 202 million a year, something like that.
Yeah,
205 million per year.
It like I'm telling you, it feels like signing Ben Simmons to a long-term deal.
So they got like
that
3 more years for this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like I wouldn't even want to advertise it on Peacock, but it's like they have to somehow make that money back. Mm-hmm. And that's a part of the problem is that they're not going to make the money back.
Funny thing about it is, and here's my question. What the hell does NBC air on Saturday? Oh, not on Saturday, on Friday. Does anybody know?
Just TV shows. That's all I can think of.
No, I mean, but again.
Hold on. I'm trying to make sure I get right up into the camera for this one. Put SmackDown on NBC. It solves all your fucking problems.
NBC Friday lineup.
I mean, you can have a show play either before or after SmackDown to get those viewers to stay watching the channel, depending on the show.
On the real, the only thing that I could say that would maybe prevent them from doing that is Law and Order.
No, I think it's
remember on USA Network, Law and Order plays before Raw comes on.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking like reruns. Law and Order's still on.
Oh, bro.
See, they just introduced a new show that they just put in the 8 o'clock slot.
What,
and
then
it's date. Yeah, they could definitely move that though, but whatever. Started watching it. I'm intrigued. Don't really understand it yet, but
they'll cancel.
Yeah, no, they're definitely going to cancel this after one season.
Mm-hmm.
They'll cancel it by mid-season, but then at 9 o'clock, it's Dateline for 2 hours, and then the news. Yeah, Dateline.
Whatever.
And then before that, it's Access Hollywood. So literally, they're not playing anything that they can't move around. But I mean, if they do that, then they would have to buy out the deal from Fox, and I don't think NBC is going to pay Fox that much money.
Or just wait for the shit to end.
But even if I'm NBC, like the way WWE just doesn't care, and it's a tarnished business relationship. That's the problem.
You're literally
you don't like the way. the way they do business.
Here's how this craziness. I don't remember where SmackDown was. I believe it was on USA, and they took SmackDown and put it on Fox.
No,
Fox, yeah.
It was on Sci-Fi. I went to Sci-Fi.
Sci-Fi, yeah. It was Sci-Fi for a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Because nobody wanted to buy it.
USA is under NBC Universal.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Peacock is NBC.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the majority of your program running through NBC anyway. The only thing that's like sticking out like a sore thumb on this one is SmackDown because it's on Fox. Now, if they want to give you a Fox-like deal to air your programming on NBC, so you don't have to worry about, oh, we can't get these stars on our thing, right? On our, our channel, or Hell in a Cell is coming up, and SmackDown got their Hell in a Cell match, so we want one on Raw now. You don't have to do all that nonsense. There's no reason for that. Just put it on NBC.
I don't think NBC wants to deal with it, having both shows. I
don't think so either. And you have to remember too, the Fox move was for Fox Sports because they wanted to be taken seriously as more than just entertainment. They wanted the sports feel to it. And that's why SmackDown got all the pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, and they were finding a replacement because they had lost UFC and they were trying to refill that spot. Here's the thing too, is you have to remember, USA did WWE a favor by pulling SmackDown onto their show, onto their networks. They didn't have to. They did them a favor and they pulled them over. And after that, they were just like, we're not paying for both shows. We're paying for Raw.
Yeah.
But the way things are now, I wonder if Vince will go back and like, hey, I'll give you a deal just to add SmackDown in there and whatever. But I mean,
they would have to give money. They would have to give money back at this point because remember, NBC and Fox paid for that.
I don't know. I'm talking about like when Fox deal is over.
But that's what I'm saying. They're not gonna pay as much because it's like now you want me to put this on Peacock, you want me to put this on my network, you're gonna have to give me a little now. Because no one's gonna want SmackDown.
My thing is, what's one of the things that, well, one of these buzzwords that companies like to use? Exclusive.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You start airing WWE, or you start saying NBC, the exclusive home of World Wrestling Entertainment, because of the fact that revenue and still viewership wise, they are still the number one professional wrestling company in the United States or in the world.
And you can put on NBC.
I mean, it's a great marketing ploy. I'm not gonna say that the marketing isn't there. I'm saying if I'm a top brass at NBC, right? I know my people can spin it. I know I can make it work. But do I want to deal with Vince McMahon and Kevin Pritchard and those guys knowing what kind of business I've already done with them?
I like
the type of shenanigans.
Bruce Pritchard and the one person.
Same level of stupid. Like I said, same stupid, same person. And you can quote me on that.
It's just different hairstyle. And he wears glasses.
It's a different shade of white. So same stupid, same person. But again, if I was NBC and I looked at the beginning of the deal, you knew that you were going to be dealing with Hunter going forward after Vince McMahon relinquished the company. I'm fine with putting an early investment in because I know what I'm going to get down the road. Looking at the product in general. Now I'm dealing with Kevin Pritchard, Nick Khan, Vince probably never wanting to retire. For me, the dollars don't make sense.
Well,
like I'd run the risk of creating my own shows than to deal with the type of tomfoolery that you've seen from all of these old men who literally make just as much stupid decisions as Congress does.
So
like I don't.
Here's the thing: if they can somehow link, like it's like, okay, we'll give you a minimum of like say $100 million per year, And at that point, it depends if you hit certain viewership marks. We'll raise you. We'll give you bonuses for that.
See,
If you hit,
you're still operating under the fact that NBC has to negotiate, and that NBC doesn't have all the leverage in the world right now.
well, that's what I'm saying.
You're
NBC said that
operating
to
under
them
the. But I'm
because
saying, why is NBC giving them $100 million? I'm not giving you jack shit.
Oh no, they'd have to.
You're giving me money.
no. They have NBC has to pay for it. But I'm saying they're giving
them $100 million.
No, per year.
Sure.
And it was just like, if you want more,
giving them $100 million.
You got to hit these marks because of the fact AEW is their viewership is going up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to go
anywhere. They what do they have? 3 shows now?
The third one hasn't been officially said yet. But there was a rumor that one of the shows was going to go to TBS, but that was squashed. They're like, no, they're both supposed to stay on TNT. But I won't be surprised if a third one comes up and ends up in TBS because I heard TBS wants a show.
TBS wants a show.
No, TBS.
So I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They want a show. So I mean, I'm looking at it from the sense of like, you're not worth nearly what you were at the beginning of our deal. If anything, you've lost me money in the last 5 years. So I was paying you what, $205 million a year. I start you off at 75, 65 million, maybe.
They are. I can't remember exactly what it is. I know NBC is technically paying more than Fox, but because of the fact that Fox has shorter programming, they end up averaging paying more. NBC does.
See, and that's my biggest thing. Is like, I probably could be wrong because it could be that they're, NBC is making money off of this. I just don't see how with the way the ratings are. I don't see how they're making money.
I have no idea. Honestly, the Peacock thing may be, offsetting or even giving them their profit.
Maybe.
But as far as like the actual programming and everything, especially considering like you saw what I did on Monday. I'm sitting up here watching Raw. 9:00, my TV went over to CBS.
Yep.
So, like, you got to deal with that. You got to deal with in Monday Night Football and all of this other stuff. So, like, during this time, it's rough.
And then think about it too. Now the NBA's coming back.
Yeah. The Peacock deal is worth $1 billion.
Yeah, the Peacock deal. Where I don't know how that is as far as how Raw plays into that, but I know that they're sitting up there paying for Raw. I think it's like $180-something million a year. But because of the fact that the deal, that 5-year deal, it ends up being just over what Raw or what SmackDown is getting. I don't remember how that shit works out. I just know that because of the fact that it's 3-hour programming versus 2-hour programming, they actually end up paying a little bit more, but it averages out the less.
Yeah. So the deal for the Raw show is $265 million a year.
Yeah, there you go. And because of the fact, think about it, they have an extra hour every single day. So SmackDown is 104 hours every single year. Or every single year they got 104 hours of programming. Raw has 52 more hours than they do. And Raw and SmackDown was paying what? Fox is paying what? 205? You said?
And both deals expire at the same time because they began at the same time. They both went into effect in October of 2019. They're both 5-year deals. So Raw is getting they're paying for NBC's paying $265 a year for
October
Raw.
2024 should be very interesting.
Not even August.
2023 and 2024 should be the 2 interesting years for WWE because that's when a lot of their top stars, especially these quote unquote indie guys that they keep talking about, or like the midgets that they keep talking about that they've been able to sign on, that's when all those contracts expire.
I don't know.
So they pretty much got $235 billion over 5 years for both NBC and Fox. But yet they were cutting.
They're struggling. And
cutting talent because
Nick Khan thinks that they need to cut money and all that. Okay.
That's
Miss
that's
me with the ball.
that's what happens when you have shareholders to answer. You need to turn a profit. So the fastest way to do that is you got to cut down employees, because that way you're saving
And
money.
see, that's where it's like sometimes going public is just not a good thing. And I understand that they are a entertainment company, but
Yeah,
this is when the entertainment side of WWE kills the wrestling side, because it's like ever since they brought this Nick Khan guy in, the product looks like absolute crap.
And it wasn't
And
looking
literally, but you can correlate the rise of AEW with the hiring of Nick Khan easily, because it's like literally he gave AEW their top stars. Like, if you really want to think about it, okay, you have Kenny Omega and you have the Young Bucks and you have who's another top guy in AEW? Help me out, Paul.
That gave them what they started with in AEW.
That AEW created.
Darby
you have
Allin,
the Inner Circle, Darby Allin,
the Inner Circle,
the Inner Circle, Hangman Page,
Orange Cassidy, Jurassic Express,
Express, right?
Lucha Brothers.
Right. So you have like that handful of maybe 12, 13 people, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the roster of any notable name are all releases that happened after Nick Khan was hired.
Aleister Black, Miro, what else is there? Andrade, FTR,
Daniel Bryan, and now Adam Cole,
rumored Bray Wyatt,
rumored, Ruby Soho,
yep, Conte, Tainara
Conte.
Tanara Conti, Conte, whatever,
because they said she's not gonna make it, but yet she's flourishing over there though.
Brody Lee,
yes,
who
R.I.P.
in theory is probably one of their pillars going forward. One of the, in a lot of ways, you can say the mid-card founding father, because he really is what took that mid-card to the next level in the short time that he was there. So I say all that to say, AEW without those cuts would have been good. It probably wouldn't have been great.
No, they would have been like a head, their head just like floating just to stay above.
Right.
Because like
they had a lot of indie talent.
Yeah.
They had a lot of indie talent, but with the amount of talent that was in WWE, and like we're not even talking about like your Sean Spears. You know, let's the Sean Spears, Leo Rush, like those guys that can just add and they can enhance the guys that you already have, because yes, AEW was built by independent stars, but the coding, the outside, the fixtures, they're ex-WWE guys. Ric Flair, Sting, those veterans that got put off to pasture, Arn Anderson,
Billy Gunn.
Those guys that got, Billy Gunn,
Matt Hardy,
those guys, Christian Cage, like those are the seasoning that made your meal work, that made your meal pop, especially this year. And that is all because Dustin Rhodes, Cody. Think about it this way: AEW wouldn't even exist without Cody Rhodes.
Oh, we're forgetting the first one.
Chris Jericho.
No. The first one that went over there and gave him the biggest pop before CM Punk. John Moxley.
See what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying that AEW wouldn't have survived, but it wouldn't be the AEW that it is now if not for, frankly, the greed and selfishness and stifling nature of WWE the Machine. And again, I throw that back to the shareholders because I'm not sure when they went public. Can't tell you when they went public, but it doesn't feel like they were public during the Attitude Era. I'll tell you that much.
No, they
It probably was around the end of the Attitude Era, going into that new bubblegum John Cena era when they probably went public because they had to turn PG, and I guarantee you it wasn't.
October 19th, 1999.
Yeah, right
So
before the turn of the century. Yeah, but that was right when the turn happened. That was right around the time the turn started to happen. No, I lied, because the Attitude Era went on for maybe like another 2 years, 2002, 2003-ish. And then once like that happened, where the shareholders got to like sit back and be like, I don't know if we want to do this. Doesn't have quote unquote mass appeal, which is bullshit. Absolute horseshit. And yes, WWE have had their highs and lows, but they haven't had the same level of competition because WCW was really coming off losing the Monday Night Wars, and they never recovered. Like when Vince beat WCW, it was just Vince. It was his vision and his creative people and him doing what he did.
Yeah,
it was a younger Vince. It was a younger, more in touch Vince.
Yeah, and to me, WCW made too many mistakes, and it cost them.
Yeah, it's almost like WCW killed themselves. It wasn't that WWE beat them; it's WCW lost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they started doing. They were ahead of the lead, and because they lost it after like 82, 83 weeks, then they started doing knee-jerk reactions for no reason. It's just like, bro, just relax, chill. You just go back to what you were doing before. Just change up the storylines a little bit, just to give us something different. Because at one point or another, I felt like everybody was in the NWO.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Except for like 5 people. And it's them 5 against everybody else.
Love the NWO, but that's aggressive. It's like, it almost could have been like that's what they like NXT could have messed up and did that with the Undisputed Era, even though I still say to this day they should have put in a woman or two in the Undisputed Era. Still think, Roger Strong's wife in the Undisputed Era would have been prime, because it would have been basically what that Jack chick is in Diamond Mine. Would have been the same concept. Like, bro, think about it this. Like, the quickest thing, the most recent thing, they had the 4 horsewomen of MMA and the 4 horsewomen of WWE signed, sealed, delivered. You just had to create a storyline for them.
But their whole issue was like, oh, the last 2 aren't ready. I'm like, okay, but you have the 4 horsemen of WWE. They can carry them on the match.
War games.
Here's my thing. Get them ready. How long do
if you're gonna send all these big guys back to training because you don't feel like they're wrestling like big guys, and you can pull them off TV for that, you can't get these girls. Like, you guys weren't using them in NXT anyway.
But here's the thing,
why weren't you using them in NXT?
If you look at the 4 horsemen of wrestling, you have Sasha, you have Bayley, you have Charlotte, you have Becky. You mean to tell me there's 2 from those 4 that can't grab Marina and I forgot the other one, Jessamine Duke, can't grab those 2 and just carry them through the match?
Absolutely, they could.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, truth be told, Becky and Bayley can fucking wrestle brooms. They can wrestle circles around with a damn broom.
That's what I'm saying. And you could even have it where you have them going at it, but then you have dissension in the group between Charlotte and Becky because they both want to they both want to pin Ronda Rousey or beat Ronda Rousey so bad. They're just like going at each other. So it's like that.
Like, that triple threat match shouldn't have happened. It should have been the 4 horsewomen match at WrestleMania. That shouldn't have happened.
Put it this way: you could have had it where, like at Survivor Series, you could have built up the match at WrestleMania and Survivor Series, where you have the 4 horsemen match, and that's where they go at it, and then that's where the feud, the 3-way comes in, because you got Becky and Charlotte both want to beat Ronda, and then they're just going at it like, you know what, we're just going to continue this later on because it's not going to work, or whatever. How you want to do it? It's just, come on, it's just it's like we were saying when Bianca just lost the belt on SummerSlam. There were so many ways to do it cleanly where she doesn't look so weak, and you still make her lose strong while she loses it. And what happens in Extreme Rules? She lost to Becky Lynch, but yet they both look strong. Why? Because what's her name came in?
The hell, she didn't
Sasha.
even lose.
Yeah. So
She's
it's
the
like
one that got hit first.
right, but I'm saying though, they both look strong. You know what I'm saying? She still looks strong. So I'm like, you're doing that now. You couldn't do that at SummerSlam. You really couldn't do that then? Like, but you did it now. So you made
It's the
Bianca
same thing
look
like with the
like a
Roman
fool.
Reigns thing.
It's like you can write when you want to, and that's annoying.
I don't get it, man.
I don't get it either because it's like what you just did in Extreme Rules is what we wanted to see at SummerSlam. You still got your pop. Bianca would look strong. You can still have the feud going because, like we said, if you have it a 3-way match, Bianca gets beat up by Carmella and Becky, and then Becky just destroys Carmella. Carmella can take that loss. Who gives a damn? I'm sorry. I don't care.
But I
Carmella
mean,
gets
even
destroyed.
if you're gonna have Bianca lose it, have someone like Carmella or Zelina cost her the match. Where yeah, people are gonna be upset about interference, but it's better than 26 seconds.
You can
Like,
even
you could have brought back the pepper spray.
You could even have Zelina cost her the match or take her out or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, but Bianca could not take that pin, and she could definitely not lose 26 seconds.
And then it's just gonna be like, oh well, I lost like that, but still I'm gonna come back even strong. Stop it. Stop that. That is some Sha'Carri Richardson jump off right there. Like, listen, bro, you got smacked. Take the L in the chin and go to the back of the line.
It's like when Kofi lost to Brock in like 5 seconds.
He still hasn't recovered from that.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody was like, what the hell? Really? Kofi, can you not hit him at least? That was the same thing. I'm just like, bro, this is Kofi all over again. Oh shit. It just lasted a little longer. That's all it was.
I don't know, man.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah.
We weren't supposed to go on a rant like that. But
no, but it
needed to be said.
Get together.
It's the reason why it's called the heel heat.
Like I said, you know what happens when we get together.
Yep. It just gets spicy out of nowhere for no reason.
Yeah, it does. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and hope you enjoy the draft tonight. And let's see what happens. And let's get some stories.